Dudes and dudettes of YouTube land, it's Frank with What's the Point EDC. How is everybody doing on this wonderful Monday we have here? I hope everybody's weekend was great. Hope everybody enjoyed themselves and everybody's doing good in life. So let's talk about EDC knives and what do I personally look for in an EDC knife. Well, let me show you. I have multiple different blade shapes right here, and all of them are very good for EDC tasks. And what you will notice is all of them have slicey, thinner blade geometry with excellent edge geometry. Once you get down to it, the blade stock and edge geometry matters so much. Tan-toe blade on this Kershaw Blur. This is CTS BDZ 1 steel right here with the aluminum scales and the Track Tech inserts. Let's see here, very hollow, thin grind. Let's check this one out. This is the Civivi Backlash 9CR18 MOV steel, G10 scales, G10 backspacer. It's a drop point blade, and it is great and slicey. Very slicey. Very pointy too. So you're starting to see some things. Pointy, slicey. Let's move on to this Spyderco Manix 2 lightweight Spy 27 steel. What do you see here? Very pointy and very good edge geometry. Everybody knows about Spyderco. They just do an amazing job. Whether you like them, love them, or whether you hate them, Spyderco does such a freaking good job at everything. Their heat treats are impeccable, but that's not what this is about. This right here is the Best Tech Barracuda. G10 scales, D2 blade steel, slicey, pokey action. You guys see what's going on here. I think you guys are starting to notice a theme here. This right here is the CRKT Polar 4. D2 blade steel, G10 scales with stainless steel frame lock. Nice, good, thin edge geometry and good and pokey. Like I said, you need to have pokey knives to get into certain tasks for EDC stuff. You don't want a non-pokey blade because you're going to have a hard time getting into finer tasks. And an EDC pocket knife is meant to get into fine places, is to get pokey and to be thin, so you're not slicing and having to exert a rack of energy just to put a slice in. You should be gliding through the material, not having to force your way through the material. And that's the good thing about a knife like this, is it's going to cut so much easier than a thick blade stock and poor edge geometry. You know, for a pocket knife, I think a hollow grind is kind of where it's at. Not for all knives, but for a good EDC knife, man, a hollow grind, you cannot go wrong because they just slice, because they're so thin. Now, I'm not going to be running any of these knives through boxes with freaking steel staples in it and expecting not to get chips in the blade. It's just not what's going to happen. You know, even something like this fixed blade, this is the White River FC 3.5 Pro. This is an excellent EDC fixed blade. It's got a good point to it and hella good edge geometry. It's got good blade stock. It's nice and thick, but it comes down to such a nice fine edge that you're going to slice through whatever you need to. Any packaging, you're going to slice through ropes. You're going to slice through strapping, tape, whatever you may need. It's just going to go through it with ease. Here's the Kubitidius D2 steel and G10 scales. It is hella slicey. Oh yeah, and speaking of this Kubitidius, I'm going to do a video on this one right here again soon. And Kubi actually makes the Tidius and a freaking premium version with titanium and 14C28 and blade steel. I'm going to repeat that. Yes, titanium, frame lock, and 14C28 and blade steel on this freaking knife. Think about that, guys. Oh, yeah, that's a hell of a cool one. I mean, all these knives have one thing in common. They all have hella good edge geometry, hella good blade stock, very good and pointy. They all have to be that way. That's just the way that I like all my EDC knives to go. I mean, you're not going to get a better way. I think that for real, for EDC tasks, if you have a really thick knife and the edge geometry doesn't come down thin, yes, it's a stronger blade. But what are you really doing with your pocket knife for EDC? I mean, I always carry a fixed blade with me. Like today, my carry is going to be this White River FC 3.5 Pro and the Civivi Backlash. There's nothing that I can't do with the two of these knives right here. There's nothing I can't do. Now, if I really need to baton through something, at all times, I've always got a larger fixed blade with me. at all times. I always do, so it's not going to be an issue. I don't expect to take my pocket knife and go out and baton with it, or to cut through a whole bunch of thick freaking wire. It's just not what I plan on doing with this. That's something that I would do with a fixed blade, something with thicker edge geometry. But like I'm saying, these right here are thin edge geometry for good slicing and good penetrating pokiness. I mean, you can't open your packages up real easy with a rounded blade, can you? Or some real thick blade. Yeah, your blade may be extremely sharp, but you're going to have to push through your material. And what happens is it becomes cumbersome. But when you get a knife like these, when you got really good ergos, and when you got a good blade stock and hella good edge geometry and pointiness, your ability to pierce and slice goes up drastically, and it just becomes a better experience. Because I've had thicker bladed knives where I'm like, man, this is stupid as hell, and then I go grab my pocket knife out, and it puts my bigger knives to shame, like my SE6 and stuff. Not that the SE6 isn't an awesome knife, and not that it isn't cutty, yeah, that's a word. But when you got something like we're going to say this Kubitidius, when you have something that's as thin as this, it just passes through materials with ease. And I mean with absolute ease. And it's so good in hand. It's just comfortable. And the benefits of having a folding knife with a pokey blade and very good edge geometry, sliciness, is it's so good because it's small, it's compact, it's not in the way, it's concealed at all times. And usually people are a lot less offended by, let's say, this Kubitidius than they would by this big freaking large obnoxious SE6, which there's nothing wrong with it. I freaking love the SE6, but I mean, it's just two totally different worlds. And yeah, so lately I've been getting into pocket knives a little bit more, into smaller EDC style fixed blades, so expect to see more. I want to know what everybody's favorite EDC blade shape is. I don't have a favorite one yet, honestly. I think that I really like clip points, and I really like these leaf shape style blades. I got a thing for them. I'm not the biggest Tanto guy. When I was younger, Tanto was king, but that all stopped at like 16, 18-ish. Now, my first knife that I ever owned that was a good quality knife was a Kershaw Blur, and it was 14C28 in, and it had the partial serrations in the Tanto. I'll never forget it. So blurs are always going to hold a special part in my heart, and clip points always are going to hold a special place in my heart. Like this CRKT Polar 4, I have cut so much stuff with this. I mean, I have put in the work with it, and it's good and slicey. It's not as slicey as this Blur. It's definitely not as slicey as this Spyderco. This is crazy, insanely slicey knife. I mean, it is slicey beyond what you would even expect. And the same thing goes for this Civivi Backlash. You want to talk about a slicey blade? What I like about this right here is the ergos are just so good. The thumb ramp pretty much right here works great. And if you want to choke up, you can do that. It's just so slicey, and it's a strong, sturdy knife. All these knives are hella strong, hella slicey, hella pokey, very useful, lightweight, good action on them. I mean, they all have good action. They're all good knives, and they all have a couple things in common. Ergonomics, blade stock, edge geometry, pokiness. They all have that in common. And that's something that I'm trying to get into, is I'm trying to better my EDC knife game. You know, and I found that the more that I play with knives, and I say play with knives because it's so fun to me. Everything with knives is just, it's such a fun thing to learn. It's so fun, and I get so much enjoyment and satisfaction out of them. I mean, let's look at this. So you get all of what I just mentioned, the ergonomics, the edge geometry, the thickness, you get the pointiness, but then what else do you add on there? Wow, look at that. Tell me that right there isn't so satisfying. What you got here is a freaking good fidgety, a good satisfying opening, a good satisfying close. Look, that is just great. Let's check this one out right here. This is the Best Tech Barracuda, and it is freaking great. Listen to this snap open. Yeah, that just came open with absolute authority, and it is hella sharp too. I've been cutting a lot of things here lately, which I should have gotten it on video, because Oh man, I've got hours and hours of cutting that I've done in the last 5 days. And I mean hours and hours of all different materials. And I should have recorded it and I should have uploaded it, but I chose to take a quick little break from YouTube. And I'm actually glad that I did, because it gave me a couple days to find some things out that I've been needing to find out, not just about myself, but about knives and about the future of the channel and things like that. I love knives, and I love everything about all knives. So you're not going to see just one style of knife here, as you guys already know. You guys know I'm a fan of the knife. What can I say? I'm a fan of the knife, guys. Sure am. Everything here would just be an excellent choice for everyday carry. It's something that you're going to be able to use for all tasks. It's something that's going to get you out in a pinch. It's something that you can survive with. It's something you can count your life on. This little collection right here could get a guy by for a long time. You got good blade sticks. You got D2, Spy 27, which is pretty much S35 VN. You got CTS BDZ1 right here. That's a good steel. If you don't know about Carpenter steel, go check it out. They got great steel. This is D2 as well, and this is S35 VN. Now, speaking of steels, I love 14C28N. Give me 1 second. Let me reach back here. Now, I should have put this one in the rotation too for the knives, but I figured right here's a leaf-shaped blade, so that one's like a semi-leaf shape, so I didn't want to put it in, but this is 14C28N. And I mean, I am in love with 14C28N. But what do you notice about this knife too? Good ergos, good blade stock, hella good edge geometry. And it's freaking pokey. It's just, I can't get it through enough that for me personally, pokey slicing is so important. Like Sharif Manganis made the Kaimano. Oh my God, I have got to get the Kaimano. Wow, that's such a nice freaking knife. There's so many knives that I really want. And there's so many knives that are going to be coming on the channel. So everybody, expect a whole lot. Expect hard use videos. Expect comparisons. Expect some edge retention tests. Expect everything. You guys know you're going to get a little bit of everything here at What's the Point EDC. And that's the beauty of this. Is here at this channel, there's something for everybody. I don't leave anybody out or any knives out. I'm an equal opportunist when it comes to knives, guys. You guys know what time it is. I'm going to go ahead and end it at that, because we're 13 minutes in. So if you're an addict, never quit quitting. Stay strong and live long. Get the help you truly deserve so you can live your best life. And if you're struggling with bad thoughts, please reach out and talk to somebody, because it's going to be okay. You got this. It's all about sharp knives and good vibes here at What's the Point EDC. Take it easy.